entire lives to secure small, measly, worldly gains. They have a bigger vision, they follow a bigger picture. And I really like this quote: the most important things in life aren't things. What are they? What are the most important things in life? They aren't things. They're the people we love, the time we have, the Quran, the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, the pleasure of Allah, the rida of Allah. Those are the most important. Allah's ihkam is very important to the people of Taqwa. So this was circulated a lot a few years ago, and I really liked it. And it gives the example of the Prophets ﷺ and how they lived a life of taqwa. So taqwa is when Noah alayhi salam called his people patiently for 950 years. Like, think about us. We share something with someone, even if it's your own children, nieces and nephews, the children of your friends, or your peers. We say it once, twice, three times. We try something once, twice, three times, and we're like, gosh, I can't do this anymore. It's too hard. So taqwa is when you stay in a state of patience for a long time, regardless of the outcome that Allah SWT is giving you. What did Ibrahim alayhi salam showcase? Taqwa is when he went to sacrifice his own son. He didn't know his son would be saved. He went to sacrifice his own son for Allah. Taqwa is when Ismail alayhi salam accepted that he would be sacrificed for Allah. Taqwa is when Yusuf alayhi salam rejected the call of a beautiful woman. Taqwa is when Musa and Harun alayhi salam bravely called Fir'aun, who was the king and a very cruel king, to worship Allah. Think about you and me. If somebody said, if you're working and you have a boss, think about going to that boss. Think about going to the boss's boss. Think about going to the CEO. Think about going to the president of a country or the United Nations. How comfortable would we be to call them, do da'wah to them? That's what Musa and Harun alayhi salam did, and that takes taqwa. And taqwa is when Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam offered salah in the night, remembering Allah, spending time with Allah, doing astaghfar, even though he had the guarantee, he had the knowledge that his past and his future sins were forgiven. That is taqwa. So a knife didn't kill Ismail. How does Allah appear to us? How do we know how much Allah loves us? There are countless signs around us. And here are a few signs, again, from the lives of the Prophet. A knife didn't kill Ismail. The fire didn't burn Ibrahim. A whale didn't eat Yunus. And the sea didn't drown Musa. So if we are with Allah, Allah will protect us. And if the King of the universe is protecting us, who else do we need? What else do we need? You will read that Ibrahim alayhi salam said that when he was in the fire, it was actually the time of greatest contentment and greatest sakina, greatest peace that he ever experienced in his life. Why? Because he was friends of Allah, with Allah. And Allah was with him, and Allah protected him, and Allah showered him with peace and sakina. And so many of us, that's what our heart desires. Our heart desires contentment with what we have, in whatever condition we find ourselves, to be peaceful and have contentment. So that was our segment on taqwa. Third segment is on Ramadan preparation. And even though, alhamdulillah, today is the first day of Ramadan for many of us, and we'll begin in a few hours for the rest of us, we can still, inshallah, benefit from being organized, being focused, and targeted. So first of all, why? Why should we be focused and targeted? Again, when you keep something handy, if something jumps out to you, jot it down. The science behind writing something down with a pen or pencil, or on your phone or on your device is that you are much more successful at remembering it. And if it is an action, you are much more likely to actually do it, to actually accomplish it. So, what are the besties? We hear so much coming to us, things to read, things to recite, things to do, how to spend our time. So, what are the besties? Fasting, qiyam, Laylatul Qadr. Okay. So, these are the three things. So, charity, Quran, extra salah, and changing our character, changing our akhlaq, changing our daily routine for the better. It's not that Allah really needs our hunger or that He needs our thirst. If it is not growing and evolving us in some way, this is actually, like we said in the beginning, it is a boot camp. It is a training for us to abstain from sins. So just how, think about an important event in your life, or maybe recently someone in your family had a big celebration, a big event, or one of your friends did. They likely had several lists going, well, depending on how organized they are. But for an event, for an exam that is important, for a job interview. So essentially, think of any example in your life where you have put in some effort. You have done it in a certain way that works for you. It could be lists, it could be thinking of things. So, whatever you like to do, be focused and targeted in how you want to optimize the benefits of Ramadan. And rule number one, never make Allah number two. So, if we keep kind of this beacon in our mind, this shining light in our mind, that Allah is number one. Not me, not my job, not even my family, not my friends. Allah is number one. And if we're able to do that, if we put Allah first, we will never be last. So, how much do we love Allah? The love of Allah is a light. And if you're without this light, then we are in an ocean of darkness. Something to reflect on. The love of Allah is a light. So Ramadan is about making Allah number one. It's about prioritizing Allah. And before anything else, preparation is the key to success. Prep, prep, prep. So whether it's day one for you today of Ramadan or day zero, if we have failed to plan, we can pretty much count on planning to fail, but it's not too late. It's not too late. So there's a difference, and some of you had asked this question. How do we plan for fidya? And what is the difference between fidya and kafara? So fidya is a concept of giving on behalf of something else. So for example, for those who cannot fast because of their age or their health conditions, or women who are pregnant, then fidya will cover the fact that you're not able to fast during this Ramadan. Kafara is if we have made a mistake or left something incomplete. So it's giving charity if we have deliberately missed a fast or broken a fast without a valid reason. Typically, and you can check with your local masajid, with your local mosques, but typically it's around $10 per day in Canada for every fast. And this is usually calculated as the average cost of a basic meal. And of course, if you'd like to give more and you can do that. So for the whole month, if you're not able to fast for whatever reason, a legit reason, not a made up reason, then it would be 300 for the entire month. So yes, plan to feed one person. And for example, for those of us who still have their period, if you will miss, for example, 5 days in Ramadan, what you can plan to do is take a meal for a family of five. So that could be your fidya, or take a gift card for a family of five, or at a restaurant. So there's many different ways that you can fulfill that. So again, you can plan in advance and take care of it in the beginning of Ramadan, because we do tend to get tired as Ramadan goes on. And then especially in the last 10 days, in the last Ashara, we tend to be more busy as well. So think about, what is my plan? What do I really want to focus on in Ramadan? And typically we say, just pick one thing. Pick one thing that you want to see an improvement on in Ramadan. So just like how you might be thinking about your work goals or your life goals. And people organize, they have bucket lists, they think about their lives in certain pie charts, their financial goals, their family goals, their personal goals, their fitness goals. So think about, spiritually, what would you like to focus on? And part of the spiritual is also the physical. So what would you like to focus on in Ramadan? Pick one thing and focus on that. And what do they say about habits? How many days does it take to form a habit and be consistent with it? Guess how many days Ramadan is? That's how many days it takes to solidify a new habit. And we talked about habit stacking yesterday. And if you haven't read this book, it's a great book. It's called Atomic Habits. It has some great ideas on how to be successful in building new habits or breaking away from bad habits. So whenever something is important for us, we do prepare for it. We talked about exams, our performance at work, big events in our life. And similarly, when it's about our faith, we can also work harder to prepare for it, to plan and prepare. So the best and the most spiritually elevated season, if you think about the seasons of the year, the season of fasting is one filled with incredible love and light. The doors of Jannah are open. We feel closer to Allah. Allah is closer to us because we're dedicating ourselves to spending more time with Him. And what that looks like for you and what that looks like for me will be different, because we have different commitments and different engagements in our life. But most of us, inshallah, we will feel more contentment. We will feel more calmness in doing the things that we have chosen to do in Ramadan. So oftentimes during the year, we've accumulated some stuff in our book of deeds. And this is the month that, inshallah, we're shining and polishing everything up. It's like a full detox process. And like we mentioned yesterday, the actual root of the word Ramadan has two roots, Ramadan and Ramin. One means intense heat, and Ramin means the light, beautiful rain. So we're going through this process of detoxifying ourselves and all the things that have happened in the last 11 months. So there's lots of planners that you can find online. If you would like any of the planners that I'm showing here, just message me and I'm happy to share the PDFs with you. These were created by some women and actually some young girls in our community. And that's what I'm sharing with you. So, one simple approach might be, in the first ashara, as you see here on the left, you're thinking about one good habit to adopt, and that's what you're focusing on. Maybe in the second ashara, you want to focus on one bad habit that you would like to leave. And maybe in the final one, you are reinforcing these two things that you have focused on. You could have simple checklists like the one that is shown over here. And you could have a simple checklist for all three asharas. You can print this out or use it on your devices, whatever feels comfortable for you. So this was a really simple one. There's also ones that have more detailed lists that you can use. So for example, if you look at this one on the right-hand side, this planner has a different page for every day of the month of Ramadan, which hadith to focus on, what is an idea of a deed for that day, how are you doing on your salah, on your prayers, on your Quran, and what are some other daily things that you can think about. And also, what is a dua for that day? So like you can see, this has a lot more ideas and a lot more detail for you. So it depends, whatever you're comfortable with. There's lots and lots of resources, beautiful resources, simple resources, a bit more complex resources, really anything that you find will fit your routine and fit your life in the moment. So how can we protect our time? Stay away from anything that isn't absolutely essential to get done in this month. We have to protect our schedule, protect our time. Social media as much as possible. A lot of work now is done through social media. So again, you know your boundaries, you know what is absolutely critical for you. And our focus this month is to do whatever we can to protect and create some space to focus on our time with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so set goals. What are we really striving for? And have fallback goals. So there will be days that will really try us and test us and we'll be exhausted. So if, for example, your goal was to read one page a day, for example, a page of the translation or a page of the Arabic in the Quran, or to read one dua in the day or two duas in the day, have a fallback. So the days that you get pulled in 100 different directions and you're super tired, instead of a full page, you might just do half a page. You might just do 2 lines. So be kind to yourself and do contingency planning. Have a fallback plan. And think about what you're really good at and how you can build that in Ramadan. And if you're into plans and timetables, make one for yourself. Have a dua list. Do whatever grocery shopping you can now if you haven't done it already. And again, if you haven't done it already and you're into gift giving at Eid, then maybe you can take care of that now if you haven't already. So whatever special traditions you have or your family and friends have, and there's work to be done for that, try to do that in advance as much as possible. So these are some more sample pages from that planner that I just showed you. It has a different page and different ideas for each day of the month. And then you would just pick and choose what is resonating with you and what you have space for. And then now is the time to make a special plan for the last 10 days, if you haven't done that already. So if your life allows, take time off. If you're working, take time off. If you're responsible for other folks, what can they do to take time off? And Laylatul Qadr, that's one night in this month that we cannot miss. We just cannot afford to miss that. We've been waiting spiritually for this month the entire year. And we don't know exactly when that is, but it is at some point in the last 10 days. So whatever we can to maximize our efforts, protect our time, protect our energy to be kind of full speed ahead in the last 10 days. And being offline for some of us could be one of the most powerful things that we do to give ourselves that time and that space. And this is a lovely dua. For Ramadan, Ya Allah, make me, gift me to Ramadan and send Ramadan to me and take it from me, accept it. So let us not go through this month without extracting every ounce of blessing and barakah that we can, inshallah. So this dua is a plea to be able to live through Ramadan. The companions of the Prophet would make dua that, Ya Allah, don't pick me up. Don't allow me to die before I have reaped the full benefits of Ramadan. And inshallah, we can do it in a way that helps us to earn the pleasure, the rada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is a dua to purify our heart for Ramadan and for post Ramadan. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a fingerprint that no one else has. Why? So we can leave an impact, we can leave an imprint on others that no one else can. So remember that this is a month of immense care. Care for the relationship with Allah, the Creator, and care for our relationships and contributions to the creations of the Creator, to other human beings, to animals, to the planet. What can we do in sadaqah, in charity, in zakah? What can we do in service of the creation? And the impact that each one of us will have will be unique. And what each one of us will take away from Ramadan will also be unique. So inshallah, we will wrap up our session here today. We will meet again at the same time tomorrow. And so for this week, for the first 7 days, we will meet at this time. And for the following week, we will probably change up the time because different time slots suit different people. We are a global community, so we're trying to meet at alternative times. And so each week will be a different time. So this week we'll be meeting at the same time, approximately for an hour. And you're always welcome to pop in for 2 minutes, 5 minutes for the whole session, whatever works in your schedule. Did anyone want to help us wrap up with a dua, either in English or Arabic? Any brave
Yes, I
volunteer?
would like to.
Oh, thank you.
Uh, may Maula or may Allah give us the sense and the wisdom of knowing what we can do and what we have to do. And during this time of Ramzan, give us guidance to help ourselves with taqwa and to form such habits which leads us towards Him and to knowledge. And may Allah be with us day and night and keep us under His shelter and mercy and His prayers, because without Him and His help, we cannot do anything. And may our prayers be accepted and His mercy be upon us.
Ameen, Ya Rab. Thank you. That's a beautiful and very
Ameen.
complete dua. Jazakallah khair. Ameen, Ya Rab.
Ameen. Ameen.
Thank you. All
My
right.
pleasure. I hope you all liked it.
You did indeed. I did indeed. Jazakallah khair. Thank you, everyone, for joining in today. Thanks for making time. And inshallah, see you tomorrow.